Hello, Needham, and thanks for joining us on What's My House Worth, a show about Needham real estate. We hope you're having a terrific fall. I know our bobbleheads are. My name is Rob Tickton. This is Ryan McDonald. We are realtors with Hawthorn Properties. And Ryan, we are here today to discuss the month of
September, Rob.
September. And a pretty quiet month it was overall, which isn't to say it wasn't a strong month, but we'll get into all the nitty-gritty in a little bit. For the time being, why don't we take a look at the big number and the gross sales numbers for the month of September. And Ryan, as you look at that, what are you seeing here?
As you mentioned, Rob, not too busy in terms of volume. We have 20 sales during September, but the rest of the numbers, as they compare to, say, August or even September of last year, holding up very, very well. I mean, a $1.38 million is an average sale price. That's right, Rob. $1.38 million is the average sale price.
I have not heard that number before.
And our percentage is very strong, besting prior months and prior Septembers. But the average days on market, 50. We were at 36 last month. We were at 44 last September. So that's something to maybe keep an eye on. Is it maybe cooling a little bit?
Yeah, perhaps. I think anecdotally it feels that way as you go from house to house during the open houses. But
yeah, I mean, like you say, I mean, it feels like it's been a little bit slow as far as, you know, the buyers out on the streets during the weekends in the last few weeks, don't you think?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, the fall market hasn't really been as robust as maybe other fall markets have been.
True, but I don't think it's ready to sound the alarm bells just yet. Just something that we're noticing.
Yeah.
September home sales, checking out how 2018 measures up with previous years, and matching up with September 15. Other than that, everything else is better than 20, wouldn't you? Right?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, so it's it's on the lower end of recent Septembers, but I mean, it didn't feel like it was a slow month in that regard.
Yeah.
But 5 sales is 5 sales, and 10 sales from 2 years ago.
Right.
That were down. So.
And there was a condo trying to sneak its way in there.
Come on, Maple, you're better than that.
Yeah, we took care of that. All right, average sales price, and this is a trend we can all get used to as sellers anyway. I even made that number bigger, Ryan, just to really punch it home. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big number. I mean,
literally,
your average sale price is almost $1.4 million. That's staggering, and it's just been going steadily up, over the last 6 years. So, if that trend continues, I mean, we can handle a little bit less volume from an overall sales perspective.
Yes, agreed. And it's not like we're sitting on a ton of inventory,
right.
So those are all good signs. Okay, time to take a look at the 20 sales over the course of the month. We're going to start on Webster Street, pretty high visibility location. I would say you and I both drove by this one a number of times, as did many of our viewers. It's 308 Webster Street. It's right near Highland Ave, Ryan.
Yeah, it's between where Greendale meets Webster and Mercer, Rob, on that side of the street.
Very
so
good,
you've got
good,
it's a Cape, 1,600 square feet. It's got some updates. It does have a one-car garage that you can't really see. It's hiding behind that tree, it looks like. But this is pretty straightforward. I mean, on for $650, sells for $630. I'd say everybody wins.
Yeah, in 2012, the same house sold for $520,000, Ryan. We do know some people who would use that as a valuation tool. Next listing is 107 Mark Tree Road. We're going to climb our way up here. This is halfway between Great Plain and High Rock, Ryan. If you're heading to the dump, I believe it's on your right.
So I look at this, Rob. First of all, what obviously jumps off the page? 2 things. Days on market, 0, and agent is owner. So, But on the other side of it is this location that much better than 308 Webster? Because you're getting less house for more money.
Well, I believe Mark Tree, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be a redevelopment.
Okay.
It's going to be a tear down.
Right. So that's what I mean. Okay, fine. So is that location that much better than 308 Webster?
$24,000 better? Yeah, I don't know.
All right. I mean, I guess it being redeveloped sort of softens it a little bit, but that's what. That's sort of. I mean, I guess it jumped off a little bit, but
I have some color on the 0 days on market.
All right, good, because these are all the things that were perplexing me.
Well,
so I'm glad you can enlighten me.
I decided to make a phone call, Ryan, because it jumped off the page for me too, and why not do a little bit of research?
Perfect. I'm glad we're having this conversation live.
So come to find out that the listing agent, she who was also the owner, put it under agreement right after putting it on MLS. So it was put on MLS. A buyer's agent saw it, made a very strong offer, which as we see was $15,000 over list, which it may be a strong offer or not, depending on how you feel about it. And the owner decided it was strong enough to accept, and boom, it was done. So
Great.
that was not market manipulation. That was a legitimate 0 days on market.
Okay. Enough said. I think we've hovered on that one for.
Yeah, and kudos to the buyer's agent.
Okay.
Kudos to the buyer's agent.
Kudos to everybody in this instance but me.
64 Gayland Road is the next listing, and we're starting to get near Junction here, the train station.
A lot of activity over here recently.
Lots of steps going up to this
on the Gayland,
front door.
Laurels, Oakhurst part of town.
Yeah, true. Lots of steps going up to the front door, but this is a house that showed well. Some nice pictures. It had a lot to offer.
It had a nice yard, not an overly large lot, but a nice yard. Third bedroom is on the first floor, so that's always something to take note of.
Yeah.
But you're right, it did show well, move-in condition, as long as you don't mind the steps.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, 245 Webster Street is our next listing, and very quickly we are going to jump into a deal of the month.
Yeah, right.
This one is for Ryan. Ryan, take it away.
So this one, it was being positioned as a land sale, and I have to believe that it is. So I'm going to assume, for the sake of argument, that that's the case. So it's a large lot, it's 19,000 square feet, but very narrow, and it's located basically 2 doors down from the fire station on Webster. So it's across from Santander Bank. Santander.
Yes.
So the location's not great from a redevelopment standpoint. If you're doing it on spec, it's a lot of risk, in my opinion, to pay $760 even for a lot that size because of its location. Mm-hmm. So I just thought like taking that on at $760 from a land sale perspective, if a builder or developer is doing that with the expectation of turning a profit on the back end, that one to me looked a little bit risky.
Okay.
But so I think the seller did well there, because the house itself not worth $760.
Right. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Ryan. We're going to move off Webster Street for a little while, head over to the Valley, one of our favorite neighborhoods, 38 Valley Road, and this house right here is very close to the end of the cul-de-sac, and it's also very close to 128. It sells for $794,500. Thoughts?
One thing that jumped out is it has been under contract for termites since
1976.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, aren't they gone by now?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a long
Those
contract.
are some persistent termites, though.
Yeah.
They just keep coming back.
Well, we don't know the terms of the contract. Maybe it was a 35-year deal.
Right. I mean, that is a long time.
You don't have to worry about termites there, I'll tell you.
You shouldn't.
Okay, let's move next to, this might be real estate related. No, it's not, so everybody just relax. 26 Highgate Street is the next listing, and this is a listing that actually was on the market for all of 2 agents, 91 days, 3 price reductions, and 3 signed offers, but eventually it sells for $860, Ryan, but it was a long haul.
Yeah, and it's a quirky house, Rob. I mean, it's been obviously expanded over the years and probably by different owners, so you don't have necessarily one seamless look to the house, so it's a little bit choppy in the way that it lays out. But it's good space. I mean, it's almost 2,400 square feet. It is it's in Broad Meadow. It's convenient to the highway, but I think the layout really kind of hurt it.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely funky. It had that big family room, but it was unconventional.
Right.
It was close to Greendale.
Yep.
And I guess in the end, $860 is what the house is worth, right? Although it seemed like took a long time to get there. Although, in the grand scheme, 91 days. I mean, it's longer than average, but it's not an eternity.
Right.
It just feels like an eternity when you're churning through a couple agents and you're coming off and on the market.
Yeah. Right? And in this environment that we've become accustomed to,
we're brats.
We're right.
We're
if your
spoiled.
house isn't selling over its first weekend, you start to rethink the strategy, and it's. I mean, in some cases, correctly so.
Yep.
But you shouldn't be pushing the panic button always. After a short period of time. But this one, I think the market does speak to you when all of its peers are coming off the market in such a rapid pace at this price point. And it does give you pause when you're still there after even 2 weeks.
Right. If we know anything now, it's that some listings have a very broad base of potential buyers and some don't. And the ones that don't take a little bit longer to sell. It's just the reality. Next listing's right around the corner from 26 Highgate Street, although 26 Highgate Street was in Broad Meadow. This one, Ryan, is in what school district?
Mitchell, Rob.
Correct. 116 Arch Street sells for $870. $870, if I'm just looking at the picture, it looks like a pretty good number.
Which way?
on the high side.
For the seller.
Correct.
Yeah, so this seller approached us several years ago about this house as a potential redevelopment deal. It doesn't really work in that regard. It's a big lot. It's 11,000 square feet, but it's very, very wide and shallow. So it's good to see that the house, did get, as you say, got a pretty good number. It appears to have gone to an end user who's going to enjoy it themselves. Does need some updates, but it's a great location, and I think there's a lot of upside here. So good to see this one is headed in that direction.
Very good. Next listing is over on Dedham Avenue, a walk-to-town location. It's 248 Dedham Avenue. This is a good-looking house, I thought, Ryan. I mean, just,
it showed well. Yeah.
Yep. Like I said, good spot, 2,200 square feet, well over list, but there's a market for houses like these. We talked about, what was it, 17 seconds ago, that sometimes you have a broad range of buyers and sometimes you don't. This is a type of house that appeals to a lot of buyers.
Except for being on Dedham Ave.
Except for that.
Yeah, so it's near to Fazio. Not an overly large lot. It's 7,400 square feet. But you're right, it did show well. It had some nice updates. So it does appeal to the buyer who's looking to get an Edom and wants to drop their bags.
Right. And
so you don't have to do anything.
And if you want to do that for a number that starts with an 8, then you're willing to get past the fact that the house is on Dedham Avenue.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
To the $1 million listings we go. 35 Beaufort. Kind of surprised this is a $1 million listing, truth be told.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the new reality, I guess.
Especially on Beaufort.
Right. Well, it's 2,200 square feet. It's 3 beds, 2.5 baths, no garage.
Nope. And a small lot.
Small lot.
It's the 3 beds that gets me here, Rob. So this one, I don't know if you remember last month, my 72 Beaufort was my deal of the month, which I'm sure is sticking in the forefront of your memory.
Oh, I can't stop talking about it.
But a very similar home, but that one had an additional bathroom.
Yes, and this one's more updated.
Yes, this is a very nice home. You walk through here, it's very well finished. You're not doing anything to it, but still, you're still spending $1 million for 2,200 square feet, only 3 beds and a small lot.
And no garage.
And no garage in a really nice neighborhood. But this one, had I not really felt strongly about that Webster land listing, this one was a candidate for me as a deal of the month for the seller also.
Right. Well, I think it speaks to the fact of how important condition and location are to buyers. I mean, those are right up there.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in that order, but they're 1 and 2 potentially.
Yep.
Next listing, kind of the same situation in many ways. You're talking about a 2,200 square foot house. I mean, this one sells for $1,075,000. It's 2,200 square feet. Yeah.
I mean, it has the extra bedroom when you compare it to Beaufort. But yeah, otherwise very similar.
Well, if you're a buyer and you really want to get a house and you don't want anybody else to see it, I mean, this is what it takes.
Right.
Right. You're talking about, $86,000 over asking, and then fine, we won't have an open house. But now you're paying $1,075,000 for a 2,200 square foot house with an assessed value, by the way, of $863,000.
Right, and that's always the pickle that you might find yourself in. Is these things, in a lot of cases, have to appraise.
Yeah.
And sometimes other work has to be done behind that if that appraisal comes up short. By work, I mean you putting in more money.
Okay, next listing is 48 Douglas Road, and just like that, we're up to $1.2 million. This looks like a good listing price, right?
I mean, a good sale price?
Listed.
Yeah, well, right, it hit the nail on the head. And this is, compare this one to 43 Whittier. I mean, they're literally a block apart, and they both are on lots of, I think they're 7841. This one has 1,400 more square feet than Whittier.
Which is a lot.
It is a lot. It's not to be glossed over, and it also has a pool, which, as we know, may or may not help you.
And a garage.
But well, Whittier has a garage.
Oh,
also.
right. You're right.
But it's $125,000 more.
Yeah.
So really, I think the driver there is the 1,400 square feet. But that's a big spread. So if you're on Whittier and you're in at 107.5 versus you're on Douglas at 1.2, take the pool out of the equation. Who wins?
Well, yeah, but you're talking about 3,600 square feet versus 2,200.
It's 1,400 square feet. There's no denying that.
Yeah. So
these are both public record numbers. So neither one of them is squeezing the basement into that number.
I think what that's telling us is the 107.5 buyer, if they could spend up to 1.2, would probably buy Douglas, and vice versa.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Let's move to the outskirts.
All right.
And if you want to see a listing that illustrates the outskirt discount, I believe it to be 120 Locust Lane, which is our next one, because it's a lot of house for 1,275. I mean, it was a flip. or redevelopment. The builder paid $865,000 for this one.
Yep.
Put a decent amount of money into it, but it's one of those contemporary, I don't know what you call it, contemporary multi-level split type homes.
Right.
So it's lots of stairs and.
And I wish, the developer here, it's probably fairly lean at this point at 1275, and not a lot was done to the exterior of the home. The exterior of the home really looks to be, kind of in that 70s.
Yeah.
But so I think that might have hurt it. I mean, obviously the outskirts, there's fewer buyers. For those of you who don't know, Locust Lane is one street away from being in Dover.
Yes.
There's only one more past it on Charles River.
Yep.
So you're limited a little bit in that regard. And then it's always tricky when you're doing a development. It's like you want to spend exactly the right amount of money when you're doing a flip. For every dollar over that magic number, it tilts towards the buyer's favor as far as the deal goes. And I think maybe they didn't quite get there. Like I would have liked to have seen something done to the outside to make that house look a little as modern and as nice as the inside.
Yeah.
But.
Oh, well.
That's just my picky eye.
There you go. And then you have new construction, of which we're about to get into. 30 Norwich Road is the next listing. This one located in the pre-mentioned valley. And it sells for $160,925. Ryan.
Yep. Lot went for $612,500 in October of 2017. So pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good buy.
Well, that's a pretty good turnaround.
Yeah.
To get it purchased, demoed, built, and sold in under a year.
Yeah.
Or let's call it a year. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So well done. Yeah. That's really all I have to say about that.
Right. And I was trying to compare this one with our next listing, which is 18 Doan Avenue, which one I liked better. And I thought, I like the location of Doan Avenue better. But then again, it did sell for, $50,000 more than what Norwich Road sold for.
A little bigger.
So it feels about right.
It's a little bigger, more beddier, and more bathier.
Well, it's amazing. Look at the difference between the two pictures. I don't know if we can ping pong back and forth between 18 Doan and 30 Norwich, but what a difference it makes if you catch the sun right on the house. It just looks a lot nicer than the 30 Norwich Road one did, which apparently.
No, you'll have to hit your rewind button.
Yeah, or I'll have to.
Can we just for a second? Can we cover what is a boutique builder?
Yeah, we can go over that if you want. I think a boutique builder is somebody who builds regularly, just not a lot.
Okay.
That's how I define it.
Okay.
No? You want to tell me what you think it means?
I thought about it. I kind of came up with something similar. Like it's not like we're not talking about Pulte homes or building subdivisions and building in the masses, but I don't know. That's as far as I got.
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, it's like sophisticated. We talked about last month. It's a word that sounds good.
Somebody slipped sophisticated.
Yeah,
in here.
don't worry. I have that too.
Okay, good.
But I think you can define that as a boutique builders.
I just think you're trying to romanticize the builder.
Well, I mean, look at all we've seen second generation builder.
Okay, that I know what that means.
Long time builder, reputable. I mean, who knows what that means?
Reputable is not a bad one to be.
Okay, fine. So boutique is out.
Yeah. All right. So for those of you who don't know, Doan is tucked behind Broadmeadow. It's accessible off of Grosvenor or Enslin.
Very good. All right. Over on Lakin Street, Ryan, why don't you tell us where Lakin Street is?
Off of Ardmore, Taylor.
Yes. Walk to
Elliott.
Correct. It's kind of behind Elliott.
Yeah.
Lots of happenings over in this neighborhood.
And they're
the last
putting
few
up
months.
big numbers.
Yeah,
Rob.
yeah.
So it's a neighborhood that you don't necessarily attribute to a lot of demand. I'm not saying it's not a nice neighborhood, but I'm just judging the demand by the amount of calls that say we get on where our customers are asking to be. It's few and far between that they're saying I want to be tucked in behind Elliott, but these houses are going for big numbers.
Well, it's a nice neighborhood. It's a quiet street, and it's big lots.
It's just not very accessible to anything.
It's accessible to 128. It's accessible to Wellesley. It's accessible to Route 9.
I mean, yes.
Don't
But I mean, it's not a hop, skip, and a jump from anything other than Elliott.
Well, what about 128?
It's not that close to 128.
It's not?
No.
I think it's pretty close.
All right.
We agree to disagree.
A lot today, apparently.
Yeah, I'm sorry for my part. Next listing is 33 Bird Drive. This one's not close to anything.
That's true. All right, fine.
This is which is not to say it's a bad location. It's actually a really good location. It's off of South Street. Lots of nice homes in this neighborhood. In my opinion, 18475 looks like a pretty good price for this.
Yeah, I mean, don't be. First of all, it's not 8,300 square feet above ground. It's 6,380.
Oh.
So there's a solid $2,000 difference, or 2,000 square foot difference between our stated square feet and our public record square feet.
I do like that three-car. I like that three-car garage.
Yes, and a good-sized lot too. So I mean, this is a almost 2-acre lot, but these sellers paid $1,885 for it in 2015.
Yes.
So unless they removed things from the house and sold them, then they probably
took a loss.
Right. So outskirts effect, a little bit.
Possibly.
That's the risk.
Well, right, because the next listing's 199 Tudor sells for 1899, and these homes seem to be going in the different direction, the opposite direction, right? I mean, 1899, that's a healthy number.
Sure it is.
For a new construction home in that location, in my opinion.
Yeah, and in this one,
I don't care if it's stunning.
The lot, Rob, 825. So that in of itself tells a story about this neighborhood. I mean, so you're paying $825 for land on a 10,019 square foot lot. So it's not surprising that on the back end of it, there's also similar demand.
Right, but so what you're saying by that logic, if there was a 2-acre lot for sale with nothing on it, or with a teardown on it on Bird Drive, that would be worth almost the same price. Although that's not new.
No, it's not new. So,
okay.
But yeah, so I mean, 825 is a pretty healthy number for 10,000 square foot lot.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I thought that. So the original seller prior to this development did very well.
I mean, yeah, everybody seems to be doing well at this point. Especially the seller at the next listing. 30 School Street is our next listing, and it's my deal of the month, Ryan. And first of all, shout out to Vesta Park. I don't know how many people knew the name of the little piece of land that was kitty corner to this house, but it's referred to as Vesta Park in the listing, and now a lot of people know that. And it was actually at one point the talk on Needham Facebook page, right? As I'm sure you already knew. Anyway, I like the house a lot. This is nothing against the house. It looks like a beautiful home. It's big. It's got 6 beds, 6.5 baths, 4 finished levels. It's a lot of house. It's the reason it's my deal of the month for the seller is just because it's on a little bit of a busy corner, because it's on School and Warren, so there's a lot of traffic there. It's a 15,000 square foot lot, but it's a corner lot, so the house is required to be set back a little bit. So you're not talking about much in terms of a yard. I just think this is a house that, you look back a year or 2 or even 3 from now, and you say this is where things changed a little bit, because I don't think before this thing sold, there was ever a thought that a house on School or, on Warren, at least that side of Dedham Ave, would sell for $225, and now there you go. The new high has been set, and I think as a result, I think you're going to see everything going for higher prices in that neck of the woods, because now, truth be told, a 15,000 square foot lot on Warren, right around there, is now arguably worth $1 million based on this sale. So it's just, things keep going up. It's just every once in a while you see one that kind of sets the bar a little bit higher. In my opinion, 30 School Street was that listing this time.
I agree with everything that you said. The only word of caution I would put out there is maybe this one just hit it, right? And it's not necessarily indicative of, okay, now we can put this kind of a price tag on anything that's similar to this.
Yep.
Because we both had the same reaction when this went on the market. We were both like, wow. And then when it sold and
ultimately the same number,
got the number, it was really, really surprising. So it's kind of setting a record for this house on this, as you mentioned, the street corner. I mean, there's 2 or 3 cars at almost every time of day stopped at that stop sign. That's going to be right out in front of your house all day long, and that. So you don't want to see then accelerated pricing.
Yeah,
on the heels of this, and everybody's citing, oh, look what they got on School Street, so I can price my similar home at $2.7.
Yes, agreed.
Then you're just going to have,
I'm just saying you can justify it.
You can justify it.
That's all I'm saying.
There'll be a lot of agents hanging their listing price hats on this sale.
Exactly, and there's going to be a lot of appraisers justifying prices based on this sale.
It is a really helpful sale to have posted for that reason.
Yes.
And I'm sure the guy in the corner of Fair Oaks and Great Plain Ave has got his eyes on this sale price
No question.
As a springboard to whatever that's going to be listed at. But
very good.
We shall see.
Okay, next listing is 370 Grove Street. We're into a couple of biggies here, Ryan.
We're almost into Wellesley.
The last two are healthy numbers. 2915 Oh yeah, here's the sophisticated word we were looking for, Ryan.
Yeah.
Sophisticated library.
I mean, I should hope so, because I do not want to go into, a garden variety library.
No, or an unsophisticated one. There's
Right.
a bunch of comic books. Who needs that?
Right.
Right? Okay, we good with 370 Grove? You want to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about that?
Large house, 1,600 square feet. Look, very, very nicely done.
Yeah, I mean,
And a huge lot.
a huge lot. Yep, and kind of ditto for the same, for the next listing, rather, which is our big seller.
Yeah.
Which is maybe the big seller for the year so far. 45 Country Way sells for $2,975. This is the home of somebody's dreams, Ryan.
Yeah, and this one basically flies in the face of everything I was just, the whole warning thing I was just putting out after School Street. Because this one I had the same, when I went on a 3199, I thought, yikes, we don't see many $3 million houses.
No, we don't.
In Needham, and it didn't get that number, but it still did very, very well. And I mean, this one located, for those who don't know, on the corner of Countryway and Village, directly across the street from the
Villaggio?
which is just the single greatest home nickname ever given in a listing.
That's no nickname. That's a name.
I mean, it's like, I think it was like 5 years ago, and every time I drive by,
the Villaggio.
I love it. But I've almost just wanted. I was glad that this house sold, so we had an excuse to talk about the Villaggio, because that's really just too much for me. But anywho, this lot sold for $1 million. So to your point, when we're talking about Burr, like is that what that land is worth? And now you can point to Oakley, corner of Countryway and Village, got $1 million for the land, put up an almost $3 million house. That's a big spread.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 times land, that's a dream that you don't usually see realized in this market.
And we've also talked a little bit before about how much harder it has become to build in Wellesley and to build in Newton. So might be the things that we start to see a little bit more of, which is actually a wonderful segue, Ryan, to our next slide.
Fun.
Because these two listings made me think, I feel like we're always looking at $2 million sales, and that doesn't feel like the norm. So how many $2 million sales have there been in Needham this year as compared to years past? So take a look and see if my hypothesis was correct. And indeed, that's a lot of $2 million sales in a calendar year. And not to mention, I mean, we're in October.
Q3. Yeah, I mean, that's just 3/4 of a year.
And there are a few under agreement. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that we're not going to see, $2+ million sales for 2018. And look at that compared to the last 4 years. I mean, 2015 was pretty good, but look at it.
Right, we were all giddy in 2014, and then it kind of tapered a little bit. But also, don't forget about all the custom homes that don't trade that are up in that $2 million range too. So there's actually more than just the ones you're seeing there.
All right, so good stuff. Let's look at the market snapshot and see how we are doing in this fall season. And I would say things are pretty much, Ryan, in line with last year.
Yeah,
right. I mean, very consistent.
Inventory is the same. Homes under agreement, a little bit more, which is good because we have some work to do to get to our 330 number. And the average list price is sort of coming back down a little bit, which is interesting considering the average sale price was gangbusters this month.
Yeah. All right. Well, if anybody wants to call us or reach out to us, or if anybody wants to know what their house is worth, Ryan, how would they go about doing that?
A great way to do that is give us a call anytime at 781-707-6564. Email's just as easy, rob.ryan@hawthornre.com. And also you should be following us on Twitter, and that handle is at Hawthorn_WMHW.
Okay, so Ryan, taking everything into consideration, if you had to give a letter grade for the current Needham real estate market, I'll do the same. We're going to give it at the same time. You ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
A-.
B+. Okay, we'll take it.
All right.
That will do it for our installment edition of What's My House Worth. It was great seeing you, and we'll see you again very soon.